Well, we have ourselves a 2017 Silverado here that is a no crank, no start, and customer says they need it figured out. And just a very quick pre-scan with our Topdon here, we can see that we're probably going to have a network issue because our low speed line, pin 1, there is nothing showing as talking. And if we click on the BCM here, we can see that it's got transponder authentication issues, no environmental ID received from the airbag module, the HVAC module, cluster, lots of issues with lost comm, and they're all on this low speed line. So let's get into this thing and see what's going on with our low speed serial data line. So on the cluster here, we're getting all kinds of messages: Service Theft Deterrent, Safety Restraint System, Tire Monitor System, Trailer Brake. So we've got lots of messages here. Now, if we go down to our data packets for our network, let's get out of the glare. We can see that we're just stuck high, close to battery voltage, and I'm pinned on terminal 1 and ground here. So we should be seeing some data packets if the network was good, but right now it just looks like we're shorted to battery. And if I take my high impedance test lamp, we can actually see if we can pull the network down or not. And I can get everything in here. We can see the bulb actually stays, it lights up, and we stay at our 12 volts here. So we've definitely got something on this pin 1 circuit shorted to some kind of battery power, because that shouldn't be able to light up. Okay, so now that we know we've definitely got some kind of issue with our low speed data line, we need to get on all data, pull up a wiring diagram for this thing. So we're going to go to diagrams, OEM, going to scroll down and find our information bus, and we want the low speed GM LAN. That's the circuit that we're interested in. And off the DLC, we've got pin 1 here that comes to this splice pack, and then also jumps to another splice pack. So we can basically split this up a little bit and try to figure out where in the circuit we've got a short to power at. So we need to find this JX200 and JX300, unplug those, and test each pin till we find this short to power. So I'm going to start with JX300 here because it's the easier one to get to, and I'm just going to pop the little splice connector out, and I'm looking on my U-scope here to see if I start getting some data packets when I unplug this thing. Hopefully I will. If it does, it means my issue's in this plug. And there we go. As you can see now, we've got data packets. I'm not sure if the truck will crank or not. We can try. You want to try to crank the truck? So no, we're still a no crank. So apparently something's in this connector that is important, that we need to see. But that is telling me now that our issue is on one of these pins on the JX300 connector. Okay, so I've got my U-scope terminal here that I had in the DLC. We're going to check each one of these pins to see which ones have data and which one is possibly shorted to power. So we're just going to start at the top one here. So we've got data packets there. We've got some data packets on that one. This one has no data packets, but the voltage is at 0, so that's definitely not the one that's shorted to battery voltage. Let's see, we've got data packets on this one, so we only got one pin left, and there we go. We've got 12 volts basically, or battery voltage up here. And looking at the connector, this one's labeled, so we got A, B, C, D, E, and F. So it should be our pin F that we have an issue with. So if we go to our wiring diagram over here, the wiring diagram shows pin F can either go to a hybrid powertrain module, which this is not a hybrid truck, and the passenger presence module, which is going to be under the passenger seat. Now, I've kind of seen this issue a few times, and I have a funny suspicion that the main connector going to this seat is probably going to have water in it or corrosion. Alright, so here's our little connector that I usually find water in here, usually from cleanup shops detailing cars spraying the carpet with water. So let's see what we got. This side doesn't look too bad. I do see something right here though. Not sure what that is. Looks like a piece of grass, but this pin does have some corrosion on it. I don't know if you can make that out or not, but there's some corrosion on that pin, and then also on this pin right here. So there's definitely some corrosion that's happened in here. Let me pull this all the way out. You can hear the dinger going off, so we've definitely changed something here. Yeah, I just seen a little splash of water come out of this thing.
This vehicle is connected by OnStar to limited services.
Apparently we've restored some communication because the car's talking to us now. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see the water that was on here or not, but there is a little bit of water on here. And several of these pins actually now look corroded. You can kind of see some corrosion right here. So let's see if the truck will crank now. So when I rescanned the vehicle, it actually still had a code in the BCM for security code not programmed. That's basically like the PIN number for the vehicle. Almost like whatever tooling the locksmith that was out here before used reset the PIN in the BCM. So there was no pin anymore for a tool to pull out. So I've had to go in with SPS2 and reprogram the BCM to write that pin number back into the module, and now I'm just using SPS to reprogram the keys back to this truck, and hopefully both of these keys will work. I don't know. If not, I'll have to cut a key for it because this vehicle requires 2 keys to be programmed to it, and it didn't have any learned to it at all because whatever he used to erase the pin code also erased all the keys, and since there was all these modules offline that have security data in them, he couldn't actually program the keys back to it. So hopefully both of these keys that are in here will actually reprogram back to this truck. So I was able to get both keys programmed, or at least it says it programmed. It's now on the screen where it tells me I need to try to crank the engine. So let's see if it'll crank. And there we go, it runs. So now all we got to do is clean that connector up a little bit and put it all back together, and this thing's fixed.
Where'd you get that tool?
This tool from the Walmart section where you get all your dental needs, your toothpaste and floss and stuff. This is called a toothbrush. This one's made by Colgate.
Shall we put the link in the video?
I'll try to get an Amazon link for these. So I've got the connector here cleaned up, put back together, and now in our body control module you can see everything is past this B101E-48. That code should have never been an issue. That code is from somebody doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing in the first place. This thing never needed anything done with the keys. The transponder authentication, well, that was because he deleted the keys, and then security learn mode, that's basically from, you know, trying to learn keys to it. So these tire pressure codes, it probably needs sensors. That tire actually is low, so they may be actually just bad sensors, no sensors whatsoever. But as you can see on our topology, now we have a completed tree. Everything should be here that the truck is equipped with. We can go through here and clear these codes, turn the engine off. But realistically, what did we need to be able to figure this car out? We needed a scan tool. Topology definitely helped narrow down what was going on. We could clearly see we had this whole data circuit was not communicating, so that's a real good key there. We needed a U-scope or any kind of scope where we could see that we didn't have data packets on our low speed line. Luckily we seen that it was just stuck at 12 volts. I didn't really need the test light, but it does help to know that yes, it is got some kind of short to power, because I couldn't pull that signal down at all. But still, the U-scope tells me that I'm short to power because I seen constant battery voltage and not data packets. And then we just needed a wiring diagram to kind of break the circuit down and think logically, okay, well, if I unplug this splice pack, my data lines come back, so now I know that the issue is in this splice pack, and then I can just check to see which pin it is, which the diagram then led me to this connector. And then all we needed was basically a toothbrush, some deoxit to clean it up with, a little pick to take out that little plastic cover that they stick in there for no reason whatsoever, and clean that up and put it back together. A little compressed air would also be nice if this thing was still wet. I had just a few drops of water that I was able to just tap out of it, so I don't think there's any water left in it. If there is, the deoxit will help push that out. When I sprayed it in there, it would help push it out. So that's it. Cleared the codes on the scan tool here, rescanned. Everything is now green, and of course the truck cranks and runs. So that's a fix. Now I just got to put everything back together. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys later.